Got some breaking news right now. The jury is set to read a verdict any second in the case of Lori Vallow, the so-called Doomsday Mom charged with plotting to murder her estranged husband for his insurance money. Vallow herself is in the courtroom. She's already convicted of murdering her 2 children. Let's listen.
Doomsday Mom begging for mercy in her second trial. Lori Vallow Daybell's legal saga continues to unfold in dramatic fashion. Just days after being convicted of conspiring to murder her 4th husband, Charles Vallow, Lori's legal battle takes another turn as she fights for a new trial in Arizona. But what's behind this desperate plea for a second chance? Lori Vallow Daybell once proclaimed herself a warrior for the end times. A self-styled prophetess, she painted a picture of a divine mission, claiming she was chosen to help usher in a new world order. But now, standing in 2 state courtrooms and facing multiple life sentences, Lori's claims of divine purpose have been shattered, replaced by the cold reality of what she's accused of, orchestrating the deaths of her own children, Tylee and JJ, and conspiring to murder her husband's first wife, Tammy Daybell. Known to the world as the Doomsday Mom, Lori's story has gone from fervent devotion to chilling criminality. According to CBS News on April 22, 2025, after just 7 days of trial, an Arizona jury found Lori guilty of conspiring to murder her 4th husband, Charles Vallow. She represented herself in the trial, making her own case and cross-examining witnesses, often against the advice of seasoned legal experts. The jury deliberated for just under 3 hours before delivering their verdict. But Lori's legal troubles are far from over. Just 9 days after her conviction, she filed a 13-page motion requesting a new trial. And at the center of this request is a bombshell allegation: juror misconduct.
The crime of count 1, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, occurring on or about July 11, 2019, guilty. Signed, foreperson. Is this your true verdict? So say you one and all.
Yes.
On the court's own motion, I'll go ahead and ask the clerk to poll the jury.
Lori's motion specifically targets Juror 15, who, after the trial, gave a televised interview in which he said, "You know, I feel sorry for her. She's spending the next 3 lives in prison." The phrase 3 lives was a reference to Lori's life sentences in Idaho, where she was convicted for the murders of her children, Tylee and JJ, and for conspiracy in the death of Chad Daybell's first wife. However, those convictions were not introduced during the Arizona trial. In fact, the Arizona jury was explicitly instructed not to consider any prior convictions or related information when making their verdict. Lori argues that this statement from Juror 15 exposes a serious breach of impartiality. The juror's comment mentioning 3 lives indicates that he had access to information outside the Arizona trial, specifically Lori's Idaho convictions. According to Lori's motion, this knowledge could have biased his judgment. She further points out that Juror 15 admitted that, before the closing arguments, he had been inclined to find Lori not guilty, suggesting that the juror's opinion shifted after hearing this external information. Lori insists that this could have influenced not just Juror 15, but the entire jury, leading them to a verdict tainted by outside knowledge. The juror misconduct claim is at the heart of Lori's motion, but it's not the only issue she raises. In fact, she argues several other points that could justify a new trial. First, Lori claims that the court wrongly excluded critical statements made by her late daughter, Tylee Ryan, and her brother, Alex Cox. According to Lori, these statements were key pieces of evidence that could have provided much-needed context for her defense. However, the judge ruled these statements as hearsay, citing the fact that both Tylee and Alex are deceased and thus unable to be cross-examined. Lori argues that these statements could have provided crucial insight into her mental state and intentions, potentially influencing the jury's decision. Another significant issue in Lori's motion involves what she describes as a discovery violation. Lori asserts that the prosecution failed to disclose important cell phone data until midway through the trial. As she was representing herself, she claims that this late disclosure severely hindered her ability to analyze the evidence and properly respond to it. Lori argues that this violation undermined her right to a fair trial, as she wasn't given adequate time to review all the evidence before being forced to make her case. In addition to the discovery violation, Lori accuses the prosecution of misconduct. She argues that the state introduced irrelevant and prejudicial character evidence, including edited portions of her police interview. Lori contends that the prosecution selectively removed emotional moments from her interview, presenting her in a distorted light designed to sway the jury's opinion. According to Lori, these actions were deliberate attempts to manipulate the jury's perception of her. Finally, Lori claims judicial bias. She alleges that the judge removed 2 of her proposed witnesses before the trial even began. Lori argues that this action unfairly deprived her of the opportunity to present a full defense. She also claims that the judge forced her to reveal parts of her legal strategy on the record, placing her at an additional disadvantage. According to Lori, these actions amounted to judicial interference and a violation of her constitutional rights. As of May 2025, the Maricopa County Attorney's Office has not yet responded to Lori's motion for a new trial. The decision now rests with the judge, who will determine if the claims of juror misconduct and other allegations are enough to warrant a new trial, or if Lori's conviction will stand. Meanwhile, Lori's legal troubles are far from over. According to Court TV, she is scheduled for a status conference on May 14, 2025, for another Arizona case in which she faces charges related to the conspiracy to murder her niece's ex-husband, Brandon Boudreaux. That trial is expected to begin later this month, and the outcome could have even greater ramifications for Lori's already complicated legal situation. From prophesying the end of the world to now seeking to rewrite her story in courtrooms across 2 states, Lori Vallow Daybell's transformation from the Doomsday Mom to convicted murderer is as tragic as it is disturbing. But as she files new motions and prepares for yet another trial, the big question remains: is Lori Vallow Daybell genuinely seeking justice, or is she trying to manipulate the justice system to escape the consequences of her actions? What do you think? Is Lori's bid for a new trial a legitimate attempt to right the wrongs she believes have been done to her? Or is she simply rewriting her own narrative to fit her agenda? Let us know your thoughts in the comments.